Hello, Houday Nation. You're watching Houday Network. I'm Carson.
I'm Parker.
Today we're going to be talking about
The ideal offseason.
what the Bengals should do. We talked about what's went wrong this season, and there's a chance, we still make the playoffs. There's still a chance.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, with all the games that are going to be played, but there's still a chance. We're looking forward to seeing that. But today we're going to be moving on past this season, regardless of what happens, and looking into next season.
Yeah. So I'm kicking this off. I started this rant last episode. Coaching.
Yeah, okay.
I'm jumping straight into this. If I am front office, if I'm Mike Brown, if I'm Duke Tobin, I am 100% firing Lou Anarumo. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have to do that. Mm-hmm. Lou has had his years. He's been good, but this is not his year. He hasn't shined. The defense is terrible.
I agree.
And then I would also fire Zach Taylor.
Okay.
And I know that could be iffy for some people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying fire Zach Taylor because I'm like, I want him gone. But also, Ben Johnson is on his last year with the Lions. And I don't see a world in which I would rather have Zach Taylor as my head coach than Ben Johnson.
I don't think they're going to go after Ben Johnson.
That's ridiculous to me. Why?
Because Ben Johnson wants more control of the team.
That's fine.
But Mike Brown doesn't want to give that up.
That's
you gotta realize who the owner is.
It's so
Mike
annoying.
Brown, he doesn't like doing anything he doesn't have to do. He just does things his way.
Yeah. But Ben Johnson, I think, one of the best offensive minds in football. I mean, I think the Detroit Lions offense is great, and it's stacked, but it runs through Ben Johnson. And I mean, he's had a great year. I think he'd make a great head coach. If I was front office, that would be the first thing I do this offseason. I would fire Zach Taylor. I'd fire Lou Anarumo. I'd bring Ben Johnson in early, let him pick his DC, and then you let him help with the offseason and who you bring in and who you draft and all that. I would not wait to fire Zach Taylor. I would get rid of him early, supposing they don't make the playoffs, which I highly doubt they make the playoffs. Supposing they don't, very early on, I'm getting rid of head coach DC.
So
hiring, it's going to be iffy when they can get Ben Johnson hired, if they do. This is just me. But I would bring him in as early as possible and let the offseason run through him, essentially.
I don't hate that, but you know who I like more than Ben Johnson?
Mike Vrabel.
Also coaches at the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator. Because literally, I mean, when you look at the Lions defense, they've had a top defense all year. Mm-hmm. They lost their best player, arguably, definitely their best defensive player.
Yeah.
And they've had so many injuries. Their second best defensive player, arguably, Alex Anzalone, he's been out for a few weeks. They've had so many players get hurt. DJ Reader was out for a couple weeks. They've had so many players get hurt, but yet their offense still finds a way to get sacks, to get pressures, to get interceptions. I don't know. I think that's coaching. And yes, Ben Johnson, I mean, he's great on the offensive side of the ball. I think that'd be great to bring him in. But I think the Bengals' problem lies more in their defense than it does their offense.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, because the thing is if you're looking to bring in Aaron Glenn as DC, it's kind of like you're just going to have to pay him more because at this point he's probably looking more for a head coaching position.
Yeah.
So it's like if they can bring him in for DC instead of Lou Anarumo, great. But
they won't.
If they bring him in at head coach, I'm fine with that. They get rid of Zach Taylor. They bring him in at head coach. They let him pick his defensive coordinator because, I mean, he can handle a lot of that, honestly, a lot of the play calling for defense. And then offensively, just let Dan Pitcher call the plays.
I'm fine with that.
Because he doesn't call the plays. It's Zach Taylor. So just get somebody different calling the plays. And if he sucks at calling plays and it's not working, find somebody new. Because it's like you haven't really utilized that. So I feel like getting a defensive-minded head coach might almost be better. Now, yes, I agree that Dan Pitcher would be great for the offense. Same with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, both their offense is a lot of motion. It's really good.
Okay. No, never mind. You said Dan Pitcher instead of Ben Johnson.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Ben Johnson.
I got you.
It's a lot of motion, and I think that'd be really good. I think the Bengals need to do that. But the Bengals have been doing that a little bit this year with Zach Taylor calling plays. It's not that all the play calls have been bad. It's just there's a lot of questionable ones. Yeah. So I just think him giving up the reins for, a little bit of play calling in certain situations definitely help. I think if you bring in a defensive-minded head coach, and get rid of Zach Taylor, I'm fine with that. If
that's
you
fine.
just change up who's calling the plays.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really their main problem. Vrabel would be great too, but I've been hearing some things. Vrabel may be coach for Ohio State.
Okay, so this is what I was going to get into, because I've never been, in his time, even last year, I was never super against Zach Taylor. Mm-hmm. This year, I was iffy about him to start the year, and I liked him less as the year went on. But it's not one of those things where I would be jumping on, ooh, fire him right now, if there wasn't options out there that I think would be better. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't just say, like in some cases, Matt Eberflus, for example.
Oh, they're just terrible.
You get rid of a head coach because you need to get rid of him.
For sure.
I don't think you get rid of Zach Taylor because you need to get rid of him. I think you get rid of Zach Taylor because there's better guys options, there. Yeah. Mike Vrabel is there, like you said. I believe this would be the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I believe, barring what happens, college football playoffs, Dan Lanning is on his last year at Oregon. That would be massive. I mean, there's guys out there who I could see them bring in and I think would be better than
It's just, do you bring in a college head coach over a coach that still is somewhat proven, like Zach Taylor, who's not a bad... Because it's like, if you're bringing him in for Eberflus, okay. But if you're bringing... Like, Zach Taylor, I don't think he's a bad coach, and he's still... It's fine if we stick with him. It's not like he needs to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Lou needs to go.
I agree. I think Lou... I don't think it's that Lou's a bad defensive coordinator. I just think what he wants out of the defense just doesn't fit with our personnel. And it's like, yeah, you can say, okay, well, they can just go out and get a bunch of new players. Well, you can do that, but you're still going to have a lot of the existing players playing. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh, all rookies, new defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, so it just makes that kind of hard. It's like if they could keep Zach Taylor and bring in a new defensive coordinator, I'd be fine with that. It's just a matter of bringing in someone good enough that doesn't want to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Like if, what's his name? Is it Missoula, the Jets' old head coach?
I couldn't tell you.
Or no, Saleh.
Oh, Robert Saleh. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he would be up for it,
but would he really jump on the Bengals?
But I don't
DC
know
position?
Because he's just a consultant right now for what the Packers. It's like he's not actually a coach necessarily. So it's like that would be an opportunity for him. So it's like if they could bring in somebody who's got experience and that could come in at DC, I think that would be fine too. I mean, it's just some type of change has to be made regardless.
Yeah. I think regardless, something needs.
For sure.
There needs to be something different there, or it's never going to work.
Yeah, so I would agree. I mean, coaching aside, players they need to add. I mean, we can start. You want to just start with free agency?
Yeah.
We can talk about some specific guys.
I think you're going to be much more knowledgeable on the free agency side. I'm going to be much more knowledgeable on the draft side.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really tell you who all's on the last year of their deal. I mean, I can't
say everybody, but I know a few.
If you threw names out there, I'd be like, yeah, he's good. He does this, blah, 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 blah. But I'm way bigger on the draft, guys. I know way more about that.
So I can just talk a little bit about free agency, then you can talk a little about draft, and then we can both kind of chime in on each.
Yeah.
But my number one guy, I would love for them to sign in his last year's contract. I just saw a ranking of the top free agents. He was at number one.
Okay.
He's staying in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Hopefully. But a guy that was like, I think number 3, and I'm like, yes, that guy would be perfect. Javon Holland from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
It'd be great. And that's the thing is we need a guy, like a veteran safety, somebody back there who knows what's happening, who can see the defense, and who can still play at a high level. It's like Javon Holland would be great because I think safety would be the best position to go out and I know Jordan Poyer just got signed. I don't know if he was on a 1-year deal or not.
I don't know.
He wouldn't be bad to go get either. It's like if you could just get a veteran safety who can still play at a high level, not like Von Bell. Somebody who can still play at a high level. I think that would be great to come in and kind of have the eyes in the back of the field to see everything. I think that's what I would like. I think Javon Holland's my number one guy.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some other, like I said, I don't know every person who's on there last year of their contract, and they could always make a trade too. I just think a veteran safety who's still operating at a high level would be great.
Yeah.
To go after it. I mean, even a corner, and I know Xavier Howard worked out with the Bengals.
He did.
And they just could not reach contract, which is like, come on. Like,
yeah. And
I know it was them not paying him enough type of thing. It's like, can we just give him some money because
and then
it would be great.
They absolutely sold the bag. I felt like
Leonard Fournette.
No, I felt like a good chunk through the season, but enough left in the season to actually make a push. They got handed a gift and they dropped it on the floor, and that gift's name was Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah.
How hard is it? A former first-round pick in what his second or third year in the league? Second?
I think it's his second. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets released. I'm like, you need corners so incredibly bad. Just sign him for the rest of the year, and then if he plays well, you extend him. If he doesn't, you drop him. But it drove me insane that they let him go to the Rams.
And the reason behind that maybe is like we were talking before the show with edge rushers and Bengals always wanting really like physically imposing guys. They do that for some other positions too. I mean, you look at Amarius Mims, you look at some of the guys they draft. They are pretty big on physical traits when it comes to getting players. And if you've seen Emmanuel Forbes, I mean, that dude is like Devontae Smith with like 10 days of not eating. Like that's literally his build. So it's like, I feel like maybe it was one of those things where like, maybe it was just they weren't even interested at all, but it was maybe one of those things too where they look at that and they're like, he doesn't have the physicals we like. We're good. But I feel like, yes, that's important, but like first round pick getting released, like why not give him a chance?
That's what I'm saying. In his second year in the league.
Like it's not like he's been in the league for long at all.
And he's been bad, but also
I mean he's been hurt a lot too though.
Exactly. And they brought some guys in, but it's like, why not just go shoot the shot with Emmanuel Forbes?
I would say give him a chance. I mean, he's got length. I mean, he's not a short corner. I think he's like 6'2".
Yeah, I mean, he's big.
It's like
not big, but
he's not big, but he's tall. He's got length, and it's like he's only been in the league for 2 or 3 years. So it's like, why not give him a chance? I don't know, but Javon Holland's definitely at the top of my list. Another guy that's up there for sure on the defensive tackle side would be Jeffrey Simmons. Oh my
free agent
gosh.
I love
I don't know if
Jeffrey
he's going to be a free agent. Actually, now that I say that, I'm not sure if he's a free agent. But go trade for him because he's somebody that's like you can get for a little bit less. He's been in the league for a long time. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if he's a free agent this year or not. I kind of just have been thinking about Jeffrey Simmons. And
I like Jeffrey Simmons a lot.
I mean, he wrecked the Bengals offensive line. Him and Devondre Sweat were destroying them. I mean, you just see him getting open up the middle all the time, and it's in that game where Burrow got sacked 9 times, that playoff game.
Yes, he had like
Jeffrey Simmons had like 3 of them. It's like that's a D tackle. I mean, that dude, he's great, and I think getting someone like him could be awesome too. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and check if he's in his final year. He may not be, but regardless, it's not like you can't go trade for him.
Yeah,
I mean, use some of the picks or use some of those guys like Jermaine Pratt or someone who you've got under contract, but it's like or like a Sam Hubbard. It's like they didn't produce great. You know, use a couple of those guys. Use a guy in a draft pick. Yeah. Like, because other teams may still be interested in them because, I mean, they've had years where they've been great players. It just didn't pan out this year. So it's not like there'll be no interest there.
Yeah.
Use some of those guys. And it's like, I don't know, because to get an older guy who maybe like the Titans are like, okay, well, maybe we're trying to rebuild because they're the Titans. Let's move on from one of our better players that's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it.
You could say the same thing about Sexy Dexy.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
That would be...
I don't think there's a player in the league I would rather have on the Bengals than Sexy
that's
Dexy.
Also very true.
That is...
I think that would be great too. I think him and Jeffrey Simmons definitely for D tackles would be right up there. Now, like I said, I don't know the whole... I'm assuming Dexter Lawrence is under contract still.
Oh, I think
I don't know about
think
Jeffrey
he got
Simmons,
paid pretty big.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the Giants are not good. If they really wanted to rebuild,
but their defense, like they have some big names on their defense.
Yeah,
but
they won't trade him. I'm just throwing that out.
Their offense sucks.
Yeah, so. I think you take Jameis Winston out of the conversation. He's probably my favorite non-Bengals player in the league. Jameis Winston will always be my number one. J-Bo will always be.
Why is he being benched? Actually, I'm glad he's being benched because they're playing the Bengals.
Yeah.
I think it's
didn't he throw like 3 picks last week?
He did. But, okay, here's the thing, though. So I shouldn't say why is he getting benched. I mean, that's why. But it's like, you got to, if you're going to commit to Jameis Winston, you got to commit to Jameis Winston. You got to be in for the ride.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's going to be games where he's going to throw for 500 yards. Yeah. That's already happened this year. Now, he did throw 2 pick sixes in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
but he threw for 500 yards and like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's like, he still was producing at a high level. It's just, he'll make some mistakes. It's kind of like Josh Allen, Walmart version. That's Jameis Winston. But like without all the physical traits and stuff. But it's like, it's just I'm going to throw it downfield. I don't care. Or it's not even Josh Allen. It's like, what's that dude? Oh gosh. He just got a DUI. He played back like quite a few years ago. He played for like the Titans. He's a quarterback.
Like Donovan McNabb?
No,
like
he's a white dude.
Who?
Oh, he played for the Titans. Oh shoot!
Like recently?
I don't remember his name, but like he would just wing it. I mean, it was like 10 years ago, maybe.
10 years ago.
He would just air it out. I think it was the Titans.
Who?
I don't know. I'll look after this, but no, it's like Jameis is one of those guys where it's like he does not care. He's like, I'm airing the ball out every time, and it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. So it's like you just got to commit to it and know that he's going to make huge plays, but then also know that he's going to make some big mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's like. Mm-hmm. When you've got a quarterback like that, like Josh Allen last year, the Bills just had to commit to that. Josh Allen was throwing a lot of picks last year.
Fumbling the ball a lot.
You just got to commit to it
and go along for the ride.
For sure. I mean, obviously Josh Allen's a higher level player, but it's the same situation.
Yeah.
And it's like now this year he's been playing a lot better. He hasn't been turning the ball over very much, and honestly, he probably should be the MVP this year.
Probably.
So yeah, you just got to commit to those things. Yeah. So. I don't know, but free agency, just defensive guys really is all I'm looking at. I mean, unless you want to go for an interior offensive lineman. Now, I don't even know who.
I couldn't.
I do know. I think Will Fries from the Colts. I think that's a name I've been hearing thrown around. I don't know if it's a situation where he's going to be a free agent or someone they should trade for. But I've been hearing that name thrown around. And the Colts. I mean, the Colts have had a good O-line for years now.
Yeah,
and I think. That would be great to go out and get him, and then maybe you wouldn't really have to address O-line in the draft. Maybe you get like one interior offensive lineman, and then you just focus on defense, or maybe you just say Matt Lee. We'll see if he can play guard, and we just. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if it's not going to make. Regardless, if they get an interior offensive lineman or a defensive guy, I'll be fine with it. I just hope it's someone who's. Playing at high level, not just someone who's like okay or they had a decent season, like someone who's played at a high level for a few years.
Yeah.
So I mean that's really all I'm thinking. I don't know if there's anybody specific.
I'm not great with free agents.
Yeah.
I'm more of a draft guy.
So
on to
the draft, I guess.
I mean, I'm not going to spoil the time because we'll be doing mock drafts.
And but you can throw some names out
there.
But
I think first round. There are, I'm a huge Ohio State fan, as much as it pains me to say this, there's 3 Michigan guys that I would be happy with in the first round. And the order goes Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant.
Will Johnson over Mason Graham?
Yes.
Mason Graham's projected like top 4 or 5 pick.
So is Will Johnson.
Is he really?
He's up there.
Yeah, I don't want to follow.
I think if they keep winning, which I know the Bengals and I know they will somehow win out and they won't make the playoffs and they'll screw their draft spot. Yeah. But there was a chance there for a second where those top 2 guys could have been there. Absolute dogs. I don't think, at their position in the draft, I don't think it gets much better than that. They fill the spots on the defense really well. I mean, Kenneth Grant plays the same position as Mason Graham, so if you can't get Mason Graham, you just get a little bit worse and you get Kenneth Grant. But I mean, there's guys in the first round that I like. You could go Will Campbell. I think he can shift to guard pretty well. But again, I don't know if he'll be there. Kelvin Banks Jr., I don't know if he'll be there. All these guys will probably be there if the Bengals stick where they're at, but they won't. In my head, I know that. Malachi Starks, I'm big on Malachi Starks because there's a serious safety hole.
Oh, for sure.
At the Bengals. And then, I mean, I won't go on about this too much. Second round, there's plenty of guys you can go for. I love Tyleik Williams. I don't know if he'll be there. Deion Walker, he's really good. Harold Fannin, like you said, I wouldn't take him second round, but if he's there,
he falls a third.
Yeah. And then you continue. I'm going to go rant.
We haven't really said anything for last. We just said pass catchers. Threw that out there.
Yeah.
So the guy I was thinking of when I said I made a receiver, Harold Fannin. Triple Crown leader for tight ends.
Yeah.
Was not given, what is it, the John
Did not
Mackey
win
Award?
the Mackey Award.
What is this? The dude from
What?
Penn State won it?
Yeah, Tyler Warren.
It's like, bro, okay, this guy is
But at least-
dynamic tight end. He's the Triple Crown leader.
Yeah.
Why is he not winning it? Is it because he goes to what? Where does he go? Bowling Green?
Yeah, they did keep it consistent, though.
And it's like, okay, let's give it to the guy that goes to Penn State and goes to the Big Ten school.
I
But
will
it's like,
say they did keep it consistent because they did give Travis Hunter the Bolitnikoff over Nick Nash.
he didn't get the what was the award? The cornerback award.
He did not get.
I forget what
he
it's
wasn't
called.
nominated
Because I
for
know
the Thorpe
Dion was
Award.
talking about it.
The Thorpe Award.
Yeah, Thorpe
But then
Award.
he won Defensive Player of the Year. He won the Bednarik.
So that doesn't make any sense. How do you not win the award for cornerbacks, but you win the defensive?
I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. But
didn't
so
make any sense.
anyway, regardless.
But I think if he's there in the third round, I'm not saying let's do it. But my ideology
But consider
is
it.
if you can keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, you keep them on the outside, you keep Mike Gesicki, you keep him around for a couple more years, you re-sign him. Throw him into the slot where he played for the Dolphins at the beginning of his career. He runs slot receiver. I mean, he can do it. It's not crazy because that's what he did at the Dolphins. Put Harold Fannin in the actual tight end position, and boom, right there, you've got your lineup for pass catchers. It's like, it's going to be a little unorthodox, but like, who cares? They're weapons, and you've got Joe Burrow as your quarterback.
Yeah.
It can work. And yeah, I don't know, but I don't think receiver is the biggest priority, though. I definitely think defense for sure.
Okay, yeah. But I think as far as I think they need to listen to me here because past few receiver draft picks haven't been great. Charlie Jones doesn't play a whole lot. He returns punts. That's about all he does. Yoshi, who we thought was going to really pop this year, all he really does is catch touchdowns. He catches some tutties.
Yeah, that's important.
But he's not a yards guy.
No, but he can get receptions in short areas of the field and in the red zone, which is helpful.
It is helpful, but
Because that's his role, I guess.
what does he have? I gotta go grab my phone. How many receiving yards he have this year?
I don't know. Good question. I mean, I don't know that off the top of my head.
your phone.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have my phone. We're recording.
But let me look up his stats.
Just in my opinion, it's like you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback. You can make things happen with limited weapons. Mm-hmm. You got to invest in the defense because Joe Burrow can carry the team on offense if he has to. Defense, he doesn't play defense. Mm-hmm. You need your defense to step up. Like, I think, I know you mentioned Malachi Starks, and he's probably somebody that'll be there for the Bengals a little bit later in the first round. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think if they could go out and get Javon Holland, play him at safety, get rid of Cut Bell and Sohn, or just keep Bell around for whatever he does, leadership. I don't know.
Does he do it this year?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Has he done it this year? I don't think he's done it.
Cut Geno Stone, whatever with Bell. Boom, you got Holland, get Starks. Mm-hmm. Those are going to be your two starters. Starks learns from Holland, so does Battle.
Yeah.
Over time, hopefully, Starks and Battle can move into the starting safety spots. Mm-hmm. Will that happen? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Probably not. But I think that'd be a good idea to get a veteran guy who's going to be able to produce and can show those things because I think that's kind of what they try to do with Von Bell. Mm-hmm. But it's like he hasn't been able to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can tell Battle some things, blah, 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 but he's not producing on the field. Like, we still need that aspect. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking first round wise because, obviously there's some guys there who would be better, but it's like, are they going to fall to the Bengals? Mm-hmm. And is it going to work out? Yeah. I don't know.
And that's why I'm not a Teteroa McMillan. I'm not a Luther Burden. I'm not an Ashton Genty guy in the first round. Because there's way bigger positions.
They'll probably end up taking Ashton Genty.
They will.
In
my head, I'll be like this. Because it's like, I want to see Ashton Genty in a Bengals jersey.
Oh, I mean, I think he's going to be great.
But in my head, it's like, Ashton Genty in Bengals jersey or Malachi Starks in Bengals jersey. It's like, who fills their spot back?
Obviously, a lot of the fans are going to be like, let's get Ashton Genty. But, like, you've got to think for a second about what's really best for the team. Now, is it going to be awesome with Ashton Genty there? Yeah. I mean, that'd be great. They'd probably put up maybe 10 more points per game. But then, guess what?
Just give up.
They're going to give up more points. So it's like, you have Chase Brown there. And Chase Brown, like I said, despite there's certain times where you can't, average the best yardage, it's because his game, the way he plays, he's great at getting those explosive runs. Mm-hmm. And I think keeping Chase Brown at the running back one is what they need to do. It's just they need to bring in a guy later in the draft who maybe played fallback a little bit, who's used to ram it into some guys, get somebody like that.
What do you know about Cam Scatterbo?
I've heard of him, yes.
I love
I've definitely
Cam
heard
Scatterbo.
of him. Where's he from?
Before I go on my other rant, Cam Scatterbo plays for Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Cam Scatterbo was like 6th in Heisman voting this year. And from what I've seen from draft projections, he's not projected to get drafted. And I'm like, that's insane.
I've heard of him.
He's not very tall. He's
huge, yeah.
White guy.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen highlights of him. Yeah.
Runs the football.
Yeah, I've seen highlights of him.
And I'm like, if you can sign him undrafted,
oh, for sure.
That'd be insane.
He probably won't go undrafted, though. Because a lot of times that's what
I don't
happens.
think so, but if he's there in the 6th, I would take him in the 6th.
For sure. That's what they need. They need a guy like that who they can get late.
Yeah,
who they're not going to spend
you don't need Ashton
big capital
Genty. You
on.
need, But here's my rant. I'm going to be quick and concise about this. Mm-hmm. The 4th round pick, I think, is wide open for the Bengals. Nobody really knows what they're going to do. There's a guy projected late 4th, early 5th, who I'm convinced is a second round wide receiver.
Okay.
His name is Jaden Higgins. He plays for Iowa State. He's absolutely massive. He's 6'4", I think he's 6'4", 220. He's huge. Put up great stats this year. He put up over 1,000 yards. He put up 9 tutties. I think if you can't, 1183 yards, 9 tutties. He's 6'4", 215. He's, from what I've seen, he seems decently fast. I don't understand why he's projected so low. I would take him. I wouldn't take him 3rd round for the purpose of I think he'll be there in the 4th round. But if he was projected early 4th round, I would take him in the 3rd round.
So my thing
that makes sense.
which I don't know a lot about him because, like I said, I don't follow college football as much. But from what I'm hearing, everything I've heard from you, which I'm gonna have to look into him when we do the mock drafts and stuff. So I'm gonna have to look more into the college football players. But sounds kind of a lot like somebody else who may be on the Bengals roster again.
But
sounds a lot like T. Higgins.
Why have one T. Higgins when you could have 2 T. Higgins?
Yeah, but here's the thing. How does that fit into their offense? Because, okay, you've got 2 guys who can get down, who are downfield receivers. Okay?
Yeah.
Jamar can do it all, I know.
Yeah.
But mainly they want to use Jamar down the field. They want to get those big plays. Mm-hmm. Same with T. Higgins. T. Higgins, he can get open, he can get short gains, but he's normally when T. Higgins is getting catches, it's 10, 15 plus yards. Mm-hmm. He's getting down the field catches. They don't really have a shifty guy who they can get in for those quick gains, for first down gains. Somebody this is rolling in my head right now.
Okay, go for
that
it.
I'm thinking free agency. Back to free agency.
Okay.
This is my idea.
Shoot.
You don't draft any pass catchers in the draft.
Any? Okay.
No, you don't need them. If they resign T. Higgins.
Okay.
If they don't resign T. Higgins, so that's my mindset.
If T. Higgins walks, I have T. Higgins too.
I agree. So if T. Higgins does walk, I say you go for him because you can get him later.
Yeah.
And he's a similar play style to T. Higgins. Is he going to be T. Higgins? Probably not. But he may be great, and he may be someone who can fit in T. Higgins' role.
Yeah.
So you've got Jamar. You've either got T or you draft a guy who can play like T. So then you're like, okay, who are we going to play in the slot? Or maybe not just the slot. Who are we going to play who's a shifty, good route runner who we can pick up quick yardage?
Hunter Renfrow.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
No.
I just saw.
Bro,
now this is going to sound crazy.
He doesn't play. Does he even play football?
No, he's 28. He's not that old. Because he got injured.
I said that as a joke.
No, I'm being serious because, listen. He got injured. He's 28. He's not that old. It's not crazy.
Hunter Renfrow looks like Brock Bowers'
Just listen.
son.
Yes, he does. But just listen to this. So, I looked him up because I saw an edit of Hunter Renfrow.
Of course you did.
And it was great. It was this good song.
He had 1,600 yards.
And they were they're asking Derwin James. They're like, this, I forget his name. They were in a podcast. And he goes, you went from Tyreek Hill to Hunter Renfrow, the encyclopedia salesman. And he goes, that's not an encyclopedia salesman. Turn on the film. And it just had Hunter Renfrow hitting the nastiest routes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this. He was really doing it. It's he's only 28. The reason he was released by the Raiders was because he got injured. They didn't want to pay his contract. They went and got Jacoby Myers, who's been playing great for the Raiders.
Yeah.
But he's just there.
Okay, so I lied. He had his most in a season was 1,038. He had 9 tutties.
Okay, but he wasn't a guy who was known for getting big yardage. He was a guy who was known for getting a lot of catches, getting a lot of a lot of meaningful yards, if that makes sense. Like he's getting first downs, he's getting yards in the situation where they need yards. He's a guy you can count on and rely on.
Okay.
He's one of those guys that has good hands and you can rely on to get open. They need a guy like that. You know who a guy like that who they had was? Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
He's gone. You don't have a guy to take Tyler Boyd's role. I think they thought maybe going out and getting Jermaine Burton would, but then they ended up playing him on the outside more, and Charlie Jones didn't. I think that's what they tried to do with Charlie Jones, and it just didn't work out. I'm just saying. I don't know. We have not seen Hunter Renfrow play in 2 years. Last time he played, he was still at that level. Is he still? We don't know. But if he is, get him on the roster.
Or, okay, you
get
do
him
that.
on the roster.
You do that, or, I like that. Or you have Chase, Higgins, you draft Higgins, you have 2 Higgins. Okay?
Okay.
And then you draft thick stick Cam Scatabo, right? And then you still have one of the better receiving running backs in football. So if you're worried about getting short yardage in short yardage situations, it's not like Chase Brown has never got a pass in his life. Dude.
I know, yeah.
So it's like if you get a guy, it doesn't have to be Cam Scatabo. I'm just throwing it out there. If you can get a guy that can run the ball, be like power back, boom, 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 that opens up Chase Brown in the pass.
But Chase Brown's not that good of a route runner. He can make catches, and he's good after the catch.
Yeah.
Chase Brown is really good running after the catch. But they don't really have, outside of Jamar, they don't really have a complete route runner. T is, but that's not really T's role.
Yeah.
So it's outside of him, they don't really have a complete route runner like Tyler Boyd. I mean, Tyler Boyd could do it all. And I don't know if it was Jamar or T, one of them was talking about Boyd, and they're you could just pick a route. He'd be out there, he could run it perfect. And he never dropped the ball until last year when he had some problems with that. So it's if you can get a guy like that, Hunter Renfrow is one of the most reliable receivers to play in the last 20 years. So it's I'm being serious.
He had 1 year over 700 yards.
Okay, but when you watch him play, he's one of those guys who just gets those reliable yards that you need. Yeah. It's not like I'm saying he's going to be our X receiver, but I'm saying you bring him in, he has a role.
Okay, yeah.
It's you know the main, if they keep Higgins, those are going to be the 2 main guys. You're going to want to go to them most possessions. If you keep Gesicki, you've got him too. You've also got Chase Brown out of the backfield, especially if you get Scatabo and you've got a guy like him who can pass block, I'm assuming.
He has to be able to.
And he can run the ball.
Dude, he's built like a
he's
built like a brick wall.
But not all those big dudes can pass block. It's just, you never know.
I'm going to look up.
Joe Mixon wasn't small by any means, and he was a terrible pass blocker. That's why they had P. Ryan.
He was not built like Cam Scatabo.
No, I'm not saying
Cam Scatabo built like Samaje P. Ryan.
Oh, great. Bring him over.
5'11", 215.
Yeah,
that's a dog.
That's a big boy.
That's a dog. With 1,568 rushing yards here and 19 touchdowns. Averages 6 a carry.
No, I think because I do remember, I know who you're talking about now. I've definitely seen highlights of him. Yeah, I think that's probably one of my more favorite draft picks later in the rounds because running back, it's not like a position you need for the starting guy, but it's a position you need for depth, and I think that's perfect. Just the way he plays would be perfect. You need a guy that can play like that.
Yeah.
I mean, or hey, maybe the 49ers are moving on from Juszczyk. Go get Juszczyk. Go get Juice. Get a fallback. Yeah, I mean that's not gonna happen. Probably they don't have to pay him that much money. He's a fallback. I'm just saying, get somebody who can, power between the tackles.
Yeah, I mean that's fine,
but and can pass block. That's important because Chase Brown. I mean, he's okay at pass blocking, but he's not great. I mean, let's be honest here. He's not a great pass blocker. That's why they had Zach Moss. That's what Zach Moss did.
Yeah. So now, I mean, Khalil Herbert doesn't do it very well. So.
He doesn't play. So he
returns kicks.
That's all he does.
He gets 1 carry per game. He returns kicks.
Yeah, I don't know, but.
And in that 1 carry, he either fumbles or he takes it for 16.
Literally, it's bro, I don't know.
If you fumble, if a team trades a pick for you and you fumble on the first carry, that's not the way to start, bro.
Yeah.
You've screwed your carries from that point on.
Child, please.
And it's not like Derwin James ran around and punched the football. He legit just dropped it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think I don't know. I just think looking forward, there's a couple guys we're looking at. Hopefully, it can happen. Hopefully, they can get a deal done with T. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll happen, though.
I think it does. I think with getting them both having the same manager, I think that tells a tale that something is going to at least be enforced to try to happen. They're going to try to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that Joe, I don't know Joe personally, may be open to the idea of restructuring his contract to keep T around. Because, that's going to be one of his big weapons. It's that's going to make Joe be a better player because he's going to have better options to throw to. Same with Jamar. Jamar maybe, I don't know, may take less to be able to keep T. But I don't know because I don't know with Jamar if he's I want to make more than Justin. I don't know if that's a big thing for him. I don't know.
But I don't know.
He said that, but is it really? I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
So, I don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can keep him around. I don't know. Got anything else to say?
I really don't.
I'd say that's about all for this episode. Next episode, we got to get into some mock drafts.
I want to do mock drafts so bad.
Most likely that'll be next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely be getting into some mock drafts. We'll start doing those. And I think it'll be good. But thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
See ya.
Peace.